Well, unfortunately, I have to report a little bit of disappointment here with this 686 competitor. Now, most of this gun is good. The trigger is fantastic. I'm happy with the accuracy. Well, I still have to do an in-depth accuracy test on it, but initial testing, I'm mostly happy with it. The problem is I don't think the ball detent is working as it should. So, on guns like this Performance Center, there is a ball detent. It doesn't have the front latch anymore, or the front bolt, catch, latch, whatever. It uses a ball detent right here at the crane, also known as the yoke. Now, you should be able to see it right there. So upon closing it, obviously I can feel the ball detent, and it sounds like it seats into that ball detent pocket. Unfortunately, you should also feel that resistance when popping the cylinder out, and there just isn't any. I think the only resistance here is from this, the normal resistance you'd feel from this part. I'm not really feeling the ball detent grabbing. I'm not overcoming the ball detent. And as you can see, if I push in the cylinder release, this cylinder with that ball detent lockup, it shouldn't move at all until I overcome the resistance of that ball detent. But as you can see that? I'm just pushing on the cylinder very lightly and it's already beginning to move. And it shouldn't do that. The ball detent should have that fully locked up still, even with the cylinder release pushed in, and you have to overcome the detent for it to even start to move. And of course, you have to fully overcome the detent for it to pop out. But look at that. See that? Just a very light amount of pressure, and it's already starting to move. And no, I don't think I'm being nitpicky here, because if I bring out the 686 competitor's big brother, the 629 competitor, this also has the ball detent. If I push in the cylinder, and look at that, there's no movement at all on that cylinder. All right, I'm pushing on it with the same amount of force I was pushing on the 686's cylinder, and there is absolutely still no movement. That ball detent still has it locked up until I fully overcome the detent, and then it pops out. And I'm pushing. You got to push with, with a fair amount of force, and then it comes out. I mean, you can really feel it. I mean, you are really having to overcome that detent, and there is no movement while that detent is seated. You really got to push, and then it comes out. And it's not just the 629. My V-Comp also has the ball detent, and same thing. I mean, even after pushing on the cylinder release, that ball detent still has it kind of locked up, and you really feel it. I mean, you can see how much potential energy is stored in there, right? I got to be careful not to let the cylinder come out and slam open, but you can see how much resistance there is because of the potential energy that stores up until it finally breaks free. See that? That's a good amount of resistance there. And finally, the big boy, the big 500, also has the ball detent. Same thing. Push on this, and that cylinder is still locked up because of that detent. And then you have to overcome it. And again, you can really feel that. It is locked up still, and you got to really overcome it. And again, whoops, yeah, I have the sling attached to it. More on that a little bit later. I was invited to my first ever hog hunt, and yeah, I'll be taking the 500. Anyway, more on that later. Back to the 686, and look at that. Just the tiniest bit of a push, and it's already starting to move. And it takes just, it feels like a regular Smith & Wesson revolver that should have the lock up front. So anyway, I called up Smith & Wesson, talked to their customer service rep. She was very nice, very helpful. She suggested that I send it in for the gunsmiths to look at to see whether or not this is in spec. I don't think it is. I don't think that that detent is properly seating. It just doesn't feel right. But anyway, she took down my info, recorded the serial number, got my address. They sent me a shipping label, so it's going to cost me nothing to ship this out to Smith. And of course, it is under warranty. So yeah, hopefully it doesn't take long to get back to me. We'll see what Smith & Wesson says and does. All right, I'll keep you guys updated.